We want to demonstrate that we can bring AI down to a level that meets our needs. Even though the technology is complex, it works for us because of its complexity, because it's able to interface with us and our customers at a level that we can relate to. And that's the power of it right now. And if we're not capitalizing on it, then, we're sleeping. And I know that AI itself as a concept is something that is on everyone's mind at this point in time. Depending on the mind, you have different impressions of what AI is, what AI can bring. And I'm curious, with the audience that we have here, could I get a show of hands for those of you who are concerned about AI with regards to our future? Let's see. Okay. Also, can I get a show of hands of those of you who are inspired by AI with regards to our future? Wow, look at that. And what about those of you who are not so sure to make what to make of AI thus far? It's okay. That's good. That's good. So just to recap, the majority of you are inspired by AI with regards to our future. And that's a very interesting thing. But just to bring everyone on the same page, I'd like to take a moment to share with you a very simple concept of what AI is that'll make this presentation a bit more easy to digest. At some point in our not so distant past, we were able to solve a problem and prescribe a sequence of steps to execute that particular solution for a desired outcome. And we did it. We used our own intelligence and we did that. And then we were able to take the prescribed sequence of steps, put it inside of a machine, and then afterwards, that machine was then able to solve that specific problem for us. And that's what we call programming. Okay. Not too far along, we figured out, hey, if we can take a bunch of data, all right, and feed that data into the program, then we can probably figure out how to tell the program to use that data to output stuff, what the output should look like based on certain prescribed inputs. And then we can have the program do the thinking for us, as long as we feed it with data. And what we found there is that it wasn't necessarily restricted to the specific sequence of steps or the specific problem. If we fed data into this program, then we'd be able to have the program solve a variety of problems, just as long as it had enough guidance with regards to what the outputs should have been based on the prescribed inputs. And that's effectively, albeit oversimplified, that's effectively what artificial intelligence is today. Now, this program is no longer called a program, it's called a model. So you hear AI models out. So these amazing models, these large language models that are out there, and these large language models solve problems for us. They've been able to be imbued by intelligence that we put into it to be able to take certain inputs and do amazing things inside of that box and then produce outputs. And you'll also hear the term agent be thrown around. So models solve problems for us because we've been able to imbue them with our intelligence. And the agents are able to leverage a number of different models, perhaps, to do things for us, things that we would otherwise do for ourselves. So I hope that this definition sort of clears up the idea of artificial intelligence for everyone. Now, the other thing is that AI is still theoretical for most of us. And the second objective that I have today is to show you, because we've had a lot of discussion, there are a lot of conversations, there's a lot of theory floating around. You can read books, you can look at a lot of podcasts, seminars. It's a lot of theory there, but we really want to know, what can AI do for us? How can we apply it in our everyday lives to make it just a bit better than it was before? Now, what I want to share with you is a journey. And some of you may know this, but not many. AI has been in Guyana since 2018. Did you know that? How many of you know that knew this? That we've been practicing AI in this country since 2018, before it became so sexy as it is today, right? We've been practicing the AI in this country since 2018, and I'll share with you what AI has done, right? Not what it can possibly do, not what it, maybe can turn out to be, what it actually has done. And it started with our connection with Professor Jason Marks. So he came down back in 2018, and he was showing us this amazing new product called 4D. Back then, it wasn't transformer-based models that was built on. It wasn't large language models. It was LSTM. Sorry, I'm getting technical, but it was amazing because you'd be able to speak to it in such a way that it understood messy and structured language. And it was able to figure things out and do things. And he was at the helm of this amazing company that was off to a meteoric rise in Michigan called. So he came down, we connected. We really connected on the level of how do we use technology for national development. We really invested in that. AI brought us together. And before we knew it, we were figuring out a way in which we can empower those here through the technologies in the first world. All right. Before we knew it, AI started human capital development in our company. We were training. We were doing AI apprenticeships. All right. We were upskilling based on the exposure. Initially, we were just 2 folks that were trained. And in a matter of time, those 2 folks, we were able to negotiate, turn into 25, even more so over the years. And then we were able to, through our local tech company and through the connection with AI, receive enough of a revenue boost to take a project that was sort of stalled because we didn't have the resources to start it, our not-for-profit that focuses on national development through the upskilling of youth in niche tech specializations, NexusCon. We were able to self-fund that project, furnish a training space, and get things started. And this project led us to the IDB lab. Once we got our profit up and the programs were running, we were able to first encounter our amazing partner and collaborator, IDB lab. And they were able to fund much of the innovation-centric and upskilling programs that our not-for-profit had executed over the years that impacted so many. And all of this came from AI. Now, what we were doing as well in our for-profit, which is V758, is that through the training and through the collaboration with Professor Mars' startup Link in Michigan, we were able to work with that company over the space of 18 months. And within the space of 18 months, we were able to create a tremendous amount of opportunity here. We were also able to help this startup deliver over 90% of their AI products to their clients. And that startup eventually grew to a 200 million valuation. That's US dollars. We did this from right here. AI did this. So I want to bring this full circle for everyone. Within the space of 2 years, through AI, we were able to empower people. Within the space of 2 years, through AI, we were able to create a platform that positively impacted the youth, the talented youth in their tech careers in this country. And at that time, we were able to upskill hundreds and directly employ dozens within the local tech sector in this country. And might I say, considerably contribute to the local tax base in the country, right? And that happened because of AI. Throughout that journey, AI also brought us a very, very important gift. And what we realized within our camp is that we were able to relax just a bit from going from project to project, paying bills. And within that space that was created, we were able to start innovating. And AI is so amazing for that particular purpose. So we started to innovate, right? our team started to build with AI. And we did some more innovation and some more innovation and some more. By that time, we were innovating ourselves. We didn't really realize it. We were innovating ourselves into a globally applicable product. And this is my segue into why we're here today. TrueSelph as a platform. TrueSelph was birthed out of AI. The benefits that it brought, the opportunities that it created, and dare I say that I am super excited about the promise that it presents with regards to our country, or even by extension, regional development in that regard. So let me shift gears a little bit and share with you what this represents, what this is all about. So we need to figure out a way in which we can leverage these amazing models. On the other end of the stack, on that spectrum, is where we come in and we start to interface with them. You know, ChatGPT is a good example. That's an interface to these models, all right? But there still remains a gap, technically speaking, when it comes to really leveraging the amazing potential of all of these amazing generative models. And this is where TrueSelph comes in. So for the better part of this year, we've been able to build a stack powered by Jisteki, and this is another, again, collaboration between ourselves and Professor Eldon Marks. It's an AI development framework. It's an AI product development framework that takes care of a lot of the heavy lifting. Professor Marks was able to pour in his experience in working with AI in industry and put it into a stack that abstracted away a lot of the complexities that exist in bringing an AI product, putting it in the cloud, and scaling it. It's a very, very powerful stack. And we were right there in the front row when he released it to us and we became contributors to the project. It's an open source project, so I would urge all the techies in here to check it out. So we took that stack and we built on top of it. And we started to build a TrueSelph platform to fill that gap between the amazing models and you. And we built this multi-agent conversational AI core that handled many of the heavy lifting parts, but with the idea of abstraction. Why is abstraction so key? Because it is still complex to really wield these things. Even though it's gotten a little better, it is still complex. So we built this with the intention of lowering the bar so that as many young minds can come to this particular stack with all of the abstractions and still build amazing things over the years with far less training that's required. And that's part of the objective of this particular stack. So on top of that, we have a full management platform as well. And this is where we put our thinking of building responsibly into our design. In here, you'll see we have data anonymization layers because it's important to preserve the privacy of folks that we deliver to. Critical, especially in these times. We have also a level that is unique to TrueSelph, and this is actually the patented aspect of TrueSelph, human embodiments. So Iris there is an example of that. We put a voice. Sometimes we can put just a voice on top of an AI, or we can put a face in a voice. And we can even make that face look as real as we possibly can make it look. And that just increases that familiarity, that human level interaction in terms of the products that we have out there. We also have to do this responsibly. So what's very important in this particular case is that every single human embodiment that TrueSelph generates will need to be digitally signed and verified in terms of its likeness to the individual that it's based upon. So we've built into this digital likeness signing, and that's building responsibly as well. And then, of course, through this, we want to make it as simple as possible to manage all of your products. We eventually want to release this, not just to developers, but to everyone. So we have a deployment management layer on top of that would just make this as simple as possible so we can gain as much productivity boosts as we can. So who is this for? It's eventually going to be for everyone, starting with the consumers. The consumers will be able to benefit from all the various ways that we can interact with the AIs that are powered by the generative models that are underneath this. And we wanted to create as many possible pathways for individuals to interface with the technologies that we have in our day, starting with something that brings it into the real, a kiosk, being able to put an AI on a kiosk. And in the expo later on, you'll see many of the kiosks, the prototypes that we have there laid out for you so that you can interact with it. And we believe that it's a very useful thing to place on your countertops if you're a business, wherever physically you interface with your customers, so that you can bring the AIs there as well. You can put this on your website as well. You can integrate this into your applications, your mobile applications as well. WhatsApp. WhatsApp is super popular in LATAM and the Caribbean. And we've been able to integrate with WhatsApp so that we can create WhatsApp agents that work along with customers so that they can interface with their clients. Facebook, Alexa, you name it, we can build an integration for it that interfaces with the amazing language models that are being used. So we're doing this for consumers. There's also a plan for developers. And of course, we have businesses in the equation as well, and researchers, all right? So you might have noticed that there's an analytics aspect to this, to be able to pick up, certain key data points with regards to the interactions as we go. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what we've started. And it's roughly just around 7 months of work where we reimagined this stack for the purpose of bridging a gap. But it's the promise of the stack that I'd like to highlight at this point in time. But before I do, let me just give you a glimpse into some of the UI aspects of the stack. So this is the login page. This is what the analytics dashboard looks like. We were able to actually put content into the AI quite easily. So this is an example of that. This is it showing off its modular arrangement, where we were able to manage different functional modules that enhance the abilities of the AI. All right. And we did this for Lorena just the other day. Don't worry, this is a digital likeness signed representation of Lorena. Excuse me. So at the IDB year-end event, Lorena and her team requested that we create a self, as we're calling it, her, that she tag team with when she presented the speech at the end. And it has an integrated sandbox so you can test out the self. We were able to clone her voice. You're able to interact with her later on if you want to. Ask her questions about the 2023 achievements of IDB Lab. And further to that, this is what I was talking about in terms of her digital likeness certificate. So every single self that's published, wherever it is, will have a QR code and they will lead you back to the signed digital likeness of the self. We believe that it's a system that regulations can patch into as we progress, so that we are eventually able to weed out disinformation, misinformation that this technology can bring. And again, that's building responsibly. So along the way, we're all social impact led. For the better part of roughly 4 months, we've been reaching out to local organizations because we believe that the technology, there's still a gap between the amazing technology out there and what it can bring to regular organizations who are still not necessarily digitalized as they should be. And we have created an AI enablement program through this to bring that technology that we've built to the masses. What we are excited about is the prospect of seeding awareness and closing that confidence gap around AI, because eventually we'll be able to identify that AI is not so bad after all. I use it every day. I can, at certain organizations, I chat with it on WhatsApp. I get the news from it. It will eventually close the confidence gap if we were able to create even more use cases in everyday life. And that's the objective of the AI enablement push. So we've been working with a number of organizations in various sectors. Plexus, for example. For Plexus, we built a pair of agents that work to coordinate ride requests between customers and drivers. It's sort of like an Uber-like experience, but over WhatsApp. And we fitted that directly into the operational flow of Plexus. Plexus uses WhatsApp, both to communicate with their customers and their drivers. Now Plexus can have a bit of a relief to have these agents work alongside their staff so that they don't have to work as long, so that their customer service is improved, the response times are improved. And this is what we can do with AI right now, because it's gotten so complex. I know that sounds scary. It's gotten so complex that it's met us at our level of communication. That's what makes it so powerful. Natural language, interfacing. Large language models have finally become super powerful enough to communicate almost even better than us, if we look at it. And this is what we can leverage to increase productivity in a number of different sectors. So this is just one example. We're also working with the NCC. The NCC is working on a platform that receives gender-based violence screening from a hotline. Part of that hotline interfaces with WhatsApp. So victims usually would message WhatsApp, report whatever incidents they may be. But that hotline needs to be available 24/7. It's important to have someone at the ready at all times. We're working with NCC to create what we call the Guardian AI. It's an AI that communicates in a very considerate way to step victims through a series of questions and extract information from their particular cases and console the victim even. And then once that information is extracted, the plan is to pass that information over to their information system for redress management and follow-up. And this is what we have in the works as well. We're also working with Wayne's World. How many of you know Wayne's World? This amazing little tucked away resort up in Linden. I've been there a couple of times. It's an amazing place. They use WhatsApp to make their bookings. We spoke to them. We said that we're looking at funding, fully funded AI enablement support to just make your customer service a bit better. We can have an agent do the bookings alongside your human counterpart so that we have high availability. And this is what we've built. It steps persons through a series of questions to get enough information to file a booking. And the way that they work is through a spreadsheet. And we've been able to integrate with that. So our agent is able to speak just like any human agent, get the information. That eventually goes into a spreadsheet that they'll work from. And that's how they prefer to work. And we're okay with that. We can facilitate that. So that's in the works as well. We're also working with PDC. So PDC is a research company. And PDC runs a lot of surveys. And we've built what we call a pollster AI, where we made it simple. You can just put questions in there. And it steps through the questions in an interview fashion, guiding the user to answer the questions as best as they possibly could, typically what, a person who goes out and runs surveys would do. And then it collects all of that information, and we can pass that information just anywhere. So we're working with PDC on a pollster AI, and we realize that it has tons of applications depending on what we plug it into. If you put it over WhatsApp, the pollster can go out, ping people, get information back. But more powerfully, if we put it over the phone, and that's possible as well, then the BPO industry might be interested in something like that. And again, like I mentioned, it can speak with a voice, and it can carry on conversations just like a regular human being. It's a very, very powerful prospect. And all you need to do is put the questions in, and out the other end, after it goes to work, you get all the structured answers back. We're also working with Cardiology Services, Inc. This is in the medical field, where we're building a kiosk to register patients. That kiosk will have a friendly face. It'll step persons through a series of questions. It'll remember your face if you come back, if you're a returning patient. So into the kiosk, we've also built facial recognition, what we call visual session recognition. So it wouldn't have to step you through the same series of questions every single time you go there. It'll remember you. It'll greet you by name, and then it'll ask you, what's the purpose of your visit today? And then it'll go towards the waiting area. This is just the beginning. There's tons of other things that I can't necessarily mention at this point in time with regards to healthcare that our technology can answer to. We're working with CARICOM General, starting off with the bid security application over WhatsApp. So it steps persons through certain questions, gathers information, and then takes all of that information and the documents that they attached and creates a package for their staff to follow up and move forward, increasing productivity that way and using the WhatsApp as we progress. Now, we couldn't fit every agency that we're working with here. We're also working with Mac Legal under a project called Laura, which is a law agent. She will have trained upon her sections of our legislation that she will then break down for persons and guide them through certain processes. All right. So these are just a few of them. Our target is 15 local organizations by the middle of next year, fully funded AI enablement support. We've sort of only filled up half of our quotas thus far. And we're looking to have, if there's anyone in the room that's interested in talking to us about your particular business use case, we'd be happy to speak with you at our booth at the expo afterwards. Again, just to recap, the objective here is that we want to demonstrate that we can bring AI down to a level that meets our needs. Even though the technology is complex, it works for us because of its complexity, because it's able to interface with us and our customers at a level that we can relate to. And that's the power of it right now. And if we're not capitalizing on it, then, we're sleeping.
What should I call you, my imaginative friend?
Elias.
What I want to share with you is a video of my son who's interacting with one of our AIs. I wanted to stick this in here because there are tremendous implications of using the generation of AI that we have right now for education. I may need to fill in a few gaps because I'm not sure if audio is clear enough, but this is a prototype, or rather we call it a development preview of Wimmy. Now, Wimmy is a children's character. You can check out Wimmy's Wimmy the Robot on YouTube. It's a PBS character as well. And our client in Grand Rapids, Michigan was gracious enough to allow us to showcase the development preview of Wimmy for you today. Now, we are blown away by what we were able to accomplish with Wimmy here using our technology stack. And what it means is that children can move from having a one-way sort of pre-encoded type of experience with their tablets and the apps that are built on there to a personalized, dynamic experience with an agent that impresses upon them values, that listens to them, that responds to them in a tailored manner, that teaches them. We were completely blown away. We had an idea of what it can bring, but until we actually built this, until I actually had my son use it, it didn't really hit. And what I want to bring to your attention here is that he's naturally interacting with it. This is one of our kiosks, by the way. He has no issues with interacting with it. He has a full conversation with me. As a matter of fact, we're having trouble keeping him away from me. Right? It's such an addictive experience. And that's just a glimpse of what we can build. Through our stack, we were able to put this development preview together in less than 30 minutes, provided that we had all the data that we needed to feed into the models. But less than 30 minutes, we were able to put this development preview together. And that's the power of the stack, and even more so building upon the power of the generative models that we have at our disposal today. All right. The other thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is that we are exporting innovation instead of talent for a change in this country. That is big. That is tremendous. And we want to keep on that trail. And we need your support to do this. This is small scale, right? We've only begun with this. we can scale this up. We can have tens of thousands benefit, no, hundreds of thousands benefit from what we've started here with technology. And that's what AI can do. So at this point in time, I want to bring to your attention what we have planned. Now, I've given you sort of the technological layer of it. We are always social impact led. Even though we have sort of a tech know-how side to us, we want to pair TrueSelph with developmental objectives. And this is the big picture that we want to share with you. I think most of you would have seen the diagram like this earlier, where we have TrueSelph in the middle here, but we want to help grow the tech ecosystem first because we can, because the stack is teachable. We want to help other tech companies practice and implement with AI right here in Guyana, right now, through our AI practitioner program. That's the first aspect. We want to also teach individuals to build with the stack. Innovation supercharged right now with what you can do with this type of stuff. In a matter of minutes, we want to teach people the basic concepts to wield this. It's completely changed. Before, you might think the entry into AI is learning about data science and machine learning. It's a misconception. The entry into AI is being created. The models will do the rest. And as long as we have the technology to support that, there's no limits. And that brings me to innovation. We can supercharge innovation with the stack. And that's what we hope to do. We've spoken about AI enablement. We want to do that more. With your support, we want to be able to seed AI into this country. All the SMEs need to benefit from it. And we need to push that as hard as we possibly can to bring ourselves to the forefront, because we have everything that we need. All our problems that we have can be solved with what we have at our disposal today. And I won't say much about the AI R&D because I'm going to lead into my colleague, my past student, my friend, my fellow director, Christopher Clark, who's going to come up here in a bit to talk a bit more about sustainability when it comes to pushing this vision as we go along. I also want to bring to your attention that the mission that we're on appeals to, at least for starters, these UN SDG goals: 4, 8, 9, and 17. Quality education, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, and partnership for the goals. We could not have done this today without the partners that provided the support, the insight, the backing, just a nudge along the way to say, keep going. And with that, I want to close by saying that it's all dependent on how we respond to AI. That makes a difference. Thank you.